to 30 seconds. Now, on the 16th, I'd like you to add the 4th octave, though. Could you add the 4th octave? That means you have to sit pretty much in the center. So what? You can do what? You can lean over to the 4th octave. Because you're always leaning a little bit as you go up. Look what I'm doing, right? Look where I am. See how I move with it, with where I am, right? So I'm almost going like this, right? I'm moving from the center, leaning, not moving on the bench, leaning. So I'd like to see you lean toward your higher register.
I'll say you want me to lean.
Yeah, lean toward, because when you get to that 4th octave, that's pretty high up, isn't it? You
Yeah.
don't want your hands to be so outstretched that you're disconnected from yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Oops.
What happens at the end? Yeah, because this is pretty level. These notes are kind of level. Your hands are level for the last 5, so you're just going forward for the very last note. But make it softer. Yeah, I don't know if you're ready for the 30 seconds, but ultimately you want to kind of push up the notch too. When you're ready. And that is very light arms. You're very buoyant in your arms. You're not really thinking fingers anymore. You're just rolling, When you're ready for that. But let's say you're not yet ready for that, okay? Just giving you some ideas down the line, like during the week, okay? The other thing is when you did the 16s, they very good. We could do staccato. You play staccato too, right? You play different kinds of staccato. Let's say let's up a notch a little bit on the 16th to like this. I'm just giving you a 16th that I want to work with. Okay, I want you to do a forearm staccato, which means you're bouncing a basketball. Basketball is heavy, and you got to do a lot of forearm work, right? When you're bouncing a basketball, huh?
Okay.
So I want you to think of that when you do this. The thumb is still under quicker. It's preparing. At the end, I kind of went forward because I didn't want to slam down on the last one. So what I'm doing is I'm bouncing a basketball and I'm actually snipping out the legato into a staccato because my thumb still has to do what? Needs to know where it's going, right? The thumb can't stiffen up like this, right? Because it won't guide, that thumb guides your fingers, doesn't it? The thumb guides your fingers. Every time it comes under, it takes like 5 fingers with it, right? Let's do separate hands. Do the right hand. Yeah. Here's another thing I noticed about your playing when you played your scales, and I know you used the metronome. I know you had used the metronome. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, you had used the metronome, but what's happening now is, I don't know if you're noticing, you going up in one tempo and then you went down in a faster tempo. Did you want to do that?
Well, yeah, I accelerated it.
So I think I'd like to hear you play with a framing rhythm and decide what is your quarter note that's underlying your 16.
Okay, I shouldn't have done that.
So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Just steady beats. Beat. That's all. Steady beats. Up and down. One beat to steady the whole thing. That's pretty good. I'd make my fingers slightly rounder for the staccato. A little bit more like this instead of longer, I think. I would have them rounded out more. See, they're more like this. See, they're more like this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you get more accuracy and more. Yeah. That's right. Still bounce.
Okay.
You know, you're getting a crisper sound on every finger now instead of maybe 4 out of 5 fingers. That's good. Okay, now let's go back to the 2 hands. Yep. You know, the other thing I do somewhat like Horowitz. Remember Horowitz is playing, he used a very low wrist? You know Vladimir Horowitz? You ever watch his YouTubes?
Yeah.
He uses that very low wrist and the long fingers. The only one that could play like almost flat finger. You watch it?
Yeah,
I
right.
don't think I would do it. But I sometimes like to be a little bit low on my wrist. It's lower than usual. See, I'm actually playing. See it? It's over here. As opposed to this way. I notice that when I do staccato, I get more accuracy when I'm a little lower on my wrist. See that? A little lower. For some reason it works for me. I just a little bit lower on that one. You can try a slight bit lower trajectory. So remember you went this way, you went heavy. You were first heavy, right? Now I want you to do very light fingertips. Look how light I'm doing. Hear it? Just fingertips. And this piano is a bummer to try to play light because it's a brash piano, bright piano, you know. So I have to go overboard to play very big basketball, you know, forearm staccato to then yield to my fingertips. So let's hear a fingertip staccato that's very light, just at the ends of your fingers, just like that. Hardly hear it, right? Yeah, I think it got a little, some of it got a little heavy and some was light. Some of it was very, very nicely, pleasantly, sprightly light. I think the issue too for this is that your thumb still has to move as swiftly and preparedly as it did with legato. Because if the thumb starts getting hung up somewhere, the staccato is affected. In other words, my model is how I did this legato. Then I snipped out. The same choreography is snipped out. Means the thumb has to advance under. Just like it did before, like you do so well. See? This is the model. Why is this the model? It shows me exactly how I moved my thumb when I did it in legato. Why should it be any different to snipping it out? See? That's a good thing to do. Use your legato model for your staccato. In other words, don't change how your thumb is passing under. That has to stay exactly how you planned it when you did it legato for me today. Okay? Just a couple of ideas for you. Now there's a different type of staccato. I call it the wrist staccato, and I'm going to do it lightly. I'm going to exaggerate my legato with wrist motion. See my wrist? What's my wrist doing? It's doing kind of exaggerated motions, right? Now I'm going to do staccato that way. What am I doing? I kind of did more undulating staccato wrists. You see that?
Yeah, well.
Yeah, well, that's kind of the premier staccato. That's where you really want to shape a staccato. You have a Mozart piece or something, and you know, and he's playing more like Mozart is less pokey staccato, a press lift, you know. See, more like this. It's semi-staccato, right? The other one is really, that's different, right? There's the 3 different staccatos I was doing, but we don't need to do that. Okay, the other thing you might want to do is contrary motion. Have you ever done where you go opposite directions? Like this? So you put your thumbs at middle D, and you're going to go 3 octaves out in triplets, and then come back 3 octaves in. Have you done that before? Let's give you an example of what we're doing. We know the scale fingering this way, you know the scale fingering either way. You've already done it today. You've done your scale fingering up and down, yeah? Now this isn't so hard because what it is the same fingers play at the same time. See, 3s meet, thumbs play at the same time, 2s, 3s, 4s, thumbs, 2s, 3s. You have a short tunnel, long tunnel, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3 tunnels, alternating, right? See what's happening? 5 at the end? Because that's what it was before anyway. See what's happening? 3's meet, 2's meet, thumbs meet, 4's meet, 3's, 2's, 1's, 3's, 2's, 1's, 4's, 3's, 2's, 1's, 3's, 2's, 1. It's the same fingers at the same time. Now what you could do is do a little blocking. You know, I do blocking a lot. I do a single note and I block the next 2 notes, like this. Bring my thumb under, block the next 3 notes, let go of 3, 2, so I don't have stress on my hands. I'm blocking out the scale with thumbs and then in between tunnel fingers, tunnels that the thumb goes through. Now it's important if you block together, because that's what's going to happen. This is what's going to happen when you block together. See? See that? Yeah. Rotate. I'm blocking the long tunnel and the short tunnel and the thumbs meet. Thumbs meet, right? Right? See? That's what happens. The blocking is a wonderful thing to do because it actually maps out the whole blueprint of the scale.